This episode is brought to you by Lumina Growth Lab. At Lumina, we help professional learning and development companies who are struggling with predictable lead flow, breaking out beyond their network, and a sniper approach to attracting the ideal clients. So they can have a smoother sales process, finally have scalability, and ultimately take their business to the next level. Most of the time, our clients come to us frustrated because business has fundamentally changed since the pandemic and now the disruption of AI. But with the right strategy and support, they're able to confidently add new channels of lead generation, leading to a packed pipeline that creates sustainable revenue and year-over-year growth for cheaper than ever before because of the use of AI technologies. If that sounds like you or someone you know, connect with me on LinkedIn and I'd be happy to have a conversation with you about unlocking your business's potential. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the Marketing Matrix. I'm your host, Lisanne Murphy, and today I am joined by the incredible and talented Michael Daehne. Michael, thank you so much for coming onto the show today.
Thank you, Lisanne. I appreciate the invite. I'm really looking forward to our conversation.
Me too, guys. I had the opportunity to meet Michael, and I was just so impressed with his smarts and his enthusiasm, his level of desire to really help his clients, and really like the unique and cool work that he's doing. And so I'm really excited to dive into what he and his organization are doing. And I know that we can learn a lot from what he's put together and built over the years. So before I hand over the microphone, let me introduce him a little bit more formally so you can just even get a better glimpse of this awesome man. So today's guest is Michael Daehne. He's the founder and CEO of FlexPoint Consulting. Michael has built a reputation for helping mid-market companies, especially in the energy, industrial, and financial services sectors. He helps them drive meaningful change in their technology strategy. With a deep emphasis on the people side of technology transformation, he's led FlexPoint to become a trusted partner for clients navigating complex digital transformations. Michael, thank you so much for being here. I can't wait to dive into your story and learn how you balance tech innovation with real world impact.
Absolutely. I love talking about this stuff. Any opportunity to kind of exchange ideas and thoughts with other cool people doing interesting stuff in this space, which I think you definitely check those boxes.
I love it. Well, yeah, I'm really excited. I'm hoping that, one thing that I love about you from like what I've met so far is like, you clearly are incredibly intelligent and smart, but like super down to earth. And also like, I love how like you don't see the mix of like tech and people in like the same sentence.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
in fact, like, you personify that and you're nailing it. And so I'm excited. It'll be great.
It's funny you say that because you know how when you're a kid, your parents tell you you're good at things, and then that becomes like in your brain, you're like, that's what I'm good at. And so as a kid, the thing I was told was you're really good at math, right? Like I got good grades in math. I liked math. It came easy to me. So it was like, you're good at math, you're good at math. And so as I kind of grew up and started thinking about college, what I wanted to do with my life, it was like, well, I'm going to do a STEM thing, right? Like I'm going to do a quantitative thing because I'm good at that, you know? And I think a lot of my personal evolution and career evolution was figuring out that while I enjoy exercising the quantitative part of my brain, I think the people stuff is way messier and way more interesting. And there's this intersection in technology between those two domains. And so that's kind of like been the story of my career is how the people, the soft skills and the business strategy and all that stuff, how that intersects with concepts that are often treated as very quantitative and logical and black and white
Yeah.
in the technology space.
That's so cool because like when I talk to leaders in companies, like they really keep those separate. Like you talk about them like of course they'd have an intersection naturally, but like that's not typically how tech is treated. It's like we've got the like you say like the quantitative stuff going on, and we have like the quality soft fluffy stuff.
Yeah.
But rarely do you see it where it's like with one initiative to make sure that like both are coming together. So I'm excited to really talk about what that means and what that looks like because from the hundreds of companies I've spoken to, like that's a pretty unique approach.
Yeah.
I love how you went back to the beginning in terms of like what your parents said that you were good at, and so like you saw that you were gonna go into a STEM field. Tell me what, like, how did the people side start to get into it? Like, how did that transition and intersection illuminate itself in your journey?
Yeah. Great questions. Fun fact that some people know, but not a lot of people know about me, which is I originally thought I was going to be an actuary. which if people don't know what an actuary is, go watch the movie Along Came Polly. Ben Stiller's character is a great persona of an actuary, someone who calculates and measures risk. They often work for insurance companies, right? And so that very much a STEM field, very math heavy. And so I was kind of going down that path. I did an internship in actuarial consulting and figured out that I liked the consultative part of it. I liked working with different clients, but I didn't like the repetitiveness, for lack of a better term, of some of the kind of actuarial modeling work. So when I came time to kind of say, what's my first full time job going to be? I was like, well, I like the consulting part. I think I'm going to ditch this actuary stuff. And I had an opportunity with a tech consulting firm that I'd kind of come to know through some people that I trust and had known in college. And so I kind of started there out of college. And my first few roles were a little more technical in nature. I was getting exposure to development, coding, that kind of thing, more so around kind of all things data. So data warehousing, reporting, business intelligence. And in those early years of my career, I was seeing that we, the consulting firm, were being paid to build these technologies and platforms for our clients. And at the end of the project, when it worked or didn't work, it rarely had anything to do with the coding or the technology. So I'm like 22, 23, 24, and I'm looking around. I'm like, we're spending all this time and energy on the technical stuff, but like, why is the client? They weren't mad. They were like, this is good. This is what we asked for. But is it really driving the outcomes they wanted? Are they really getting like differentiated outcomes for their clients or for their employees? And so I was kind of like looking around, like what's happening here? Like what these companies, and this is even more true today, but they're spending so much money on technology and technology transformation. But you look at the stats and they're super depressing, right? If you go look at HBR or McKinsey or whoever, they do all these assessments. And, 10 years ago, they would say, okay, maybe 25% of these big technology transformations are successful. Now I think the numbers are even worse. Depending on what you look at, they'll say 10% or 15%. And so I had this light bulb moment to get back to your core question. I had this light bulb moment of like, wait, the success or failure of these projects is not the tech. It is more, are we connecting the dots? Going back to our earlier conversation, are we connecting the dots between the business strategy, the employee experience, the customer experience, what we're actually trying to do, what we're actually trying to change? Are we communicating it well? Are we getting the right buy-in from stakeholders? Are we training and educating on what will be different with the new platforms? Are we proactively thinking through how our processes need to change? So I'm just sitting there pretty early career going like, that's what I want to do. I want to be in the technology space. Like I think technology is a great sandbox for all this other stuff. So I want to be in and around it, but I want to focus on all those things that I think are often, this was true then and is true now, they're the things that are often overlooked, or to be blunt, they're the things that are cut out of the budget on big technology transformation projects because they seem like not core things. It's like, well, we don't need to do that much training. We don't need to do that much process redesign. And I fundamentally think those are the things that make or break the whole deal. So that was my early career light bulb moment that set me on this trajectory of focusing on the people and process side of technology transformation.
Super interesting. Okay, so and like let's step back and do a little bit of definitions for just a minute. Like
Yeah.
can you give me some examples of big technology transformation? Like what are those types of shifts that are requiring this process definition that you're talking
Yeah,
about?
great question. So I make the distinction, kind of getting back to terms and lingo, I make the distinction between tech modernization and tech transformation. Tech modernization for me is we have old systems, we need new systems. That is very hard. I'm not trying to downplay it. We do a lot of that. But what gets me up in the morning, gets me more excited is tech transformation. And by that, I mean, so I'll give you a couple examples. An oil field services company that basically you can imagine has thousands of industrial assets out in the field spread across the country. Historically, they make money when those units are running in super oversimplified terms. Historically, when that unit breaks down, they get a call from their end customer saying, hey, unit 123 is down. Can you send a guy out here to fix it? So they have an experienced technician. He might drive 2 hours to middle of nowhere, Texas or Oklahoma or wherever. He'll go crack the unit open. He'll do some diagnostics. He'll figure out what's going on. He might drive an hour to a parts warehouse to get the parts he needs. You can imagine this quickly becomes an all day activity where a lot of the time is what they'd call windshield time. It's not value add time, it's driving back and forth, right? So tech transformation for them is we helped them build out a strategy and they've since, implemented this to outfit all of those units with remote monitoring, telemetry, to monitor pressures and temperatures and all these readings in real time, beam that information back to HQ, put it in an analytics model so that one, they're getting alerted when things are spiking or dropping that seem out of whack. More interesting to me is putting that into predictive models to say, hey, there's not an issue yet with unit 456, but these indicators are telling us we might have a valve replacement we need to do in the next 6 months. So the next time you go out there for a planned maintenance, bring a valve with you and proactively do that. And so that sounds very simple, but you can imagine there's hardware components to get all that remote monitoring out there. There's a lot of software, there's analytics and modeling work, and there's process redesign because that doesn't work if those field service technicians don't understand that before they go to fix a unit, they need to crack open their iPad. They need to look at the new work order system. They need to look at the unit intelligence analytics that we're pumping in there to say, not just go to this unit, but what parts should I pick up? What do I think the most likely problems are? Do I need to call a senior tech that might talk me through how he has solved this problem before? That's all radically different than go look at the unit, crack it open, and start working through it. So that's one, I think, really good example of technology in service of transforming a business model and business processes. There's others in our space around financial services. We do a lot of work with financial services. And you can imagine there that there's so many historical models around managing risk, credit risk with loan portfolios. And historically, that's a very human intensive process to manage all those Excel models and complex models to look at loan portfolios. There's huge opportunity right now. We're working with a lot of clients on this, on leveraging analytics and AI to automate a lot of that, not only after a loan is kind of sold to a customer, but even on the front end as you're determining loan terms with a customer. So those are a couple examples where it's technology, but there's a why tied to it.
Yeah, I love that. Those are really, really cool examples, and I love how you have one that's like pretty physical in nature, and one that's much more digital
Yeah,
in
good way to put
nature
it.
as well. Wow. Yeah, well, I would imagine that like I mean the process, like you say, the process change, like if like you said, like for example, like if the tech goes out there because like that's just how it's always been done, right? And doesn't use the system that's been built to like save that windshield time, as you mentioned, like it's like the whole system breaks down like right there,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And like I kind of building on that, a few years ago, we moved into a new house and we had an alarm system installed. So the guy from whatever, ADT, I don't know what company it was, but the alarm system guy came out to install the alarm. And he was there, I don't know, an hour or two. And he spent like, I'm not kidding, like 70% of the time in our house struggling with the app he was supposed to be using on the
Yeah.
iPad to like manage the work. He was super frustrated. He was probably he didn't do it in front of me, but I'm sure he was grumbling under his breath about like, oh, corporate IT, blah, 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 and this dumb system is probably way faster when he used a pen and paper. That's like a perfect encapsulation of when you do the technology stuff and you don't think about the process and the people and the training and the change and the user
Yeah.
interface.
Were
And
you
that's
like,
just,
I gotta call this company and
yeah, exactly. I'm like, I'm available if you want to talk. Um, but you see that all the time, you know?
yeah, that's super interesting. I love that. Okay. Are companies eager to implement these efficiency solutions or like are like is it oftentimes like when an industry is like, well, this is just how it's always been done, so this is how it has to keep happening. Like how is it like an obvious sell or is it complicated sometimes because they're like, that seems like a lot of work for just to save few
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah. I would say, I always hate to kind of stereotype or put everyone in a bucket, but by and large, the clients and the organizations I interact with are very motivated to do this stuff. It's more about the complexity and the difficulty of how to do it. That's in my experience where things get tricky. But most business leaders, particularly in today's landscape with all the AI buzz and they're asking those questions of their IT leaders, of their organization, of their external partners of like, hey, yeah, we've always done it this way, but I don't think we can keep doing it this way. Like, help me understand. I had lunch with a client this week, CEO, and he would say, "Oh, I'm not the most technical person," but he was articulating exactly why his organization needs to be embracing tech because they're connecting the dots between the business value. So yeah, I think there's a lot of hunger and motivation in the market.
That's
It's
great.
more like working through the noise. There's just it's like overwhelming, I think,
Yeah.
like where to
Yeah.
start.
So, and tell me, like, is like you mentioned the buzz around AI, right? Massive,
Yeah.
massive,
Yeah.
massive shift in technology, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like, companies are like excited slash scared slash like paralysis analysis, like of like how to implement these solutions. Like, is AI making your job easier or more challenging, or maybe a little bit of both, but in different areas? Like how is AI transforming
Great.
not just like your selling process and your delivery?
Yeah. All of the above. Exciting, great, scary, challenging, helpful to us internally. So I'll give you the Reader's Digest version of all that. It's awesome because it is prompting, no pun intended in the AI space, but it is prompting the questions from leaders of organizations of they might often say of how do we use AI, but I think the deeper question is how do we leverage modern technology more broadly to help our business? So that's great for us because like that's the whole business we're in is helping. We can help you figure that out. So that's great. It can be challenging sometimes because the conversation can quickly get laser focused on AI. My board wants an AI strategy. My boss wants an AI strategy. So and so, my neighbor was talking about AI. My point of view, our kind of point of view as an organization is AI is another tool in your tool belt, and it is a super powerful one. It might account for 100 tools in your tool belt. I am an AI enthusiast, so I'm not downplaying it, but I am saying you have to get to the question of what problems you're trying to solve and what opportunities you're going after, and then say, is AI the answer, or is XYZ technology that might be 10 or 15 years old? Is that the answer? So I think that it can be challenging to help zoom out from that like solution in search of a problem
Yeah.
kind of conversation
Yeah.
and again that's the fun stuff. That's what we love working through. But increasingly I find myself saying, hey, pump the brakes on the solution piece. Let's back up a bit. And then the last thing I would say is it's very helpful to us as a consulting business. We're using it increasingly as a member of our team. If you go look at our website and you look at our team members, you'll see the last team member on there is our internal AI agent that we use for a bunch of stuff. Now, we call him Flex the Ibex. There's a long story behind that, but I'm not saying that Flex has the intelligence and advisory capability of some of my senior consultants. Not the case. But he's offloading a lot of low value work and analysis and documentation that all else equal, I would probably have more junior team members right now, kind of a more traditional pyramid model, very classic consulting model, whereas instead we look a little bit more like the Washington Monument than a pyramid right now because we're leveraging AI to do some of that stuff that would historically be at the bottom of the pyramid. So it's great. It's an exciting, scary, challenging, motivating time. Like I'm having a blast kind of navigating this wave.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and I also really appreciate how it's like I think the key thing that you talked about is like what is the real problem that we're trying to solve, right? Like instead of like looking at solutions first, like look at the problem and then match the correct solution. And yes, it might have AI or it might have AI components, but that might not necessarily be like the core of it. And I would imagine, I mean, if I was a business leader and someone was like, hey, like yes, 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 I hear you, AI. However, like let's do like the best solution for this problem and it might have not it might not be even it might not be AI at all. I probably would take a deep breath as a business leader and be like, wow, well,
Yeah.
I really appreciate like someone being honest with me instead of just like trying to like shove AI down my throat because like that's like what we all think we need, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's it's not really answering your question, but I think it's relevant here that I think so when we've talked before, I've told you that some of why I started my own company is because I don't love how consulting in general sometimes approaches clients in these conversations and kind of be more to the point. I've fallen into this trap myself sometimes. So I'm not throwing stones, but I think consultants can sometimes be condescending, know-it-alls coming in like, hey, we're going to tell you what to do. It's going to be great. Like they'll just listen to us. The truth of the matter is that most people in senior leadership roles of organizations that we work with, they are in those roles for a reason. They are very intelligent. They know their business as well. They know their customer needs. They're scanning the market. They're learning about modern technologies. It's not like they're like damsel in distress. I need a consultant to come like solve my problems. It's more like there's a lot of dot connecting, internal politics, legacy, like baggage from past things. It's all that stuff that makes it difficult to just say we're going to do it. We're going to implement AI. We're going to leverage modern technologies. And so like we often are playing the role of support system, Sherpa, if you want to think about that, like guide, helping work through some of that messiness. It is not that we're coming in and like, oh, we're geniuses. Aren't you glad we're here? I think that's kind of a BS way to think about the partnership. And so I bring that up because the vast majority of the business leaders we're talking to, they get it. They're like, it's not like I'm having to explain to them, right? They get it. It's more like, help us figure out how to do it.
Right. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, that's like a fun a fun place to be in, right? Because like the vision is already there,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And sometimes the vision is the hardest part to communicate or develop. And so that's exciting.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
cool. So it's we're at the time of this recording, it's towards the beginning of 2026. So I'm curious, like what's on the horizon for 2026 for FlexPoint? Like what are some big focuses for you, big initiatives? I'm sure you're a goal-oriented human being.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Great kind of way to think about it. So we get together as a team every quarter. We talk about kind of our goals for the quarter, where we're going, and all that. And of course, like most organizations, the annual process is a little bit more rigorous. We have the benefit of being small and nimble, so we don't have to overcomplicate it. But we try to have really good conversations as a team about what's important. So for us in 2026, there's kind of a few key pillars. I will not bore you with the full plan, but there's a few things that I think are relevant. One is all things AI. So no surprise, right? We were just talking about this, and for us, it's how do we differentiate ourselves as a partner for AI transformation? So what I mean by that is we're not trying to build the models, right? I'm not saying, hey, FlexPoint's going to come in and build the greatest LLM you've ever seen, or uh, kind of code a bunch of algorithms, that kind of thing. We are really trying to help clients in that very early stage, that conversation we were just talking about of what are the problems or opportunities, and where can AI or other technologies kind of work in service of that. So we're really leaning in. We're doing a lot more work right now in that space of, I'll call it assessment and advisory, before a client is kind of running down the path. And there's an interesting kind of subcomponent of that, which is that we are facilitating a lot more AI experimentation. Sometimes we're doing that with Microsoft Copilot, because a lot of organizations that are Microsoft shops, that's like a really easy thing to be like, okay, we'll start there. Copilot in my mind is like, it's fine. It's not the be all end all, but it's a great way to get business folks playing with AI and going, well, if it can do this, can AI do that? If it can do this, can and so we're facilitating a lot of these, we call it Copilot Catalyst or incubator programs or POCs or whatever. Because we find I had a boss 10 or 15 years ago that told me always show, don't tell. Showing is better than telling. And this is a really good way to show the power of AI and then connect those dots. So a lot of early stage AI strategy advisory, that's a big focus for us. Second thing is really doubling down on a few of our geographic markets. So as we've talked about before, we're spread out all throughout the country, mostly in the central time zone, but Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Houston are our two biggest markets. And so from a relationship building, networking, biz dev perspective, all that stuff, we're really trying to double down in those markets. I live in Austin, but I spend a lot of time in the Twin Cities in Houston for that reason. And so kind of trying to get the flywheels going in those markets. And then the third thing I would say is really thinking about internally how we as a firm need to evolve. And so this goes back to how we're using AI, among other things. But I don't think the consulting firm of the present and the future looks like the consulting firm of 10 years ago. And so we're doing a lot internally with our own team members, increasing AI fluency and capability, not only to help our clients more, but also to kind of say, hey, we've always done this way, but maybe it's asking ourselves the same questions, right? Maybe we need to think about how to how to leverage AI and automation to do that internally. So those are kind of three of the core things we're focused on this year.
Yeah, no, that's I love it. It's so cool. I love how you've got like an internal processes look, a external like market focus, and then also and then more of like a people centered thing.
Yeah.
That's so fun. So
Yeah.
great.
It's awesome.
So, and as you're doing this, I mean, the whole point of like setting a out there trajectory is that there's steps in the path that still need to be discovered and illuminated, or there's holes that you're like, okay, we're gonna have to navigate this or figure out how to get through this. We don't know how to do this part yet. What are some of the holes or the roadblocks or the questions that you're trying to answer? Like as you're reaching these goals, like what are some of those gaps that you're trying to fill?
Good question. I think all three of those categories I described have holes and gaps and questions. I think for me, the thing that we spend a lot of time on is on the helping clients navigate AI stuff. I get dozens or hundreds of emails and LinkedIn messages of companies that look and sound a lot like us saying they can help me use AI. Everybody wants to be in the AI space right now. And so I think for us, it's how do we cut through that noise from a marketing and biz dev perspective? Because and biased, I run the company. I don't think we're just like another company that's on the AI craze. I think we have a long track record of helping companies navigate many waves of technology transformation in a business and kind of process and people focused way. So that's a real challenge is how do you cut through the noise in a way where your story is compelling? The vast majority of our clients, 90 plus percent, come from referrals from other clients. We're very much, and it's like we're in a trust based business. And so if one CFO or CIO tells their friend, hey, FlexPoint helped us solve XYZ. So that's still key, but from a marketing and business dev perspective, cutting through the noise, that's kind of a challenge, I guess, for us. And then I think I think the more that feels like tactical to me. We'll solve that. The more existential, interesting, somewhat philosophical question that I spend a lot of time thinking about is as we leverage AI internally more for some of those things that as I described kind of bottom of the pyramid activities, that is great. That is can be good for our clients because we can work faster and cheaper in some ways. It's good for us, all that. It is a massive problem from a talent pipeline perspective because the work I was doing 1, 2, 3 years into my career is what equipped me to be successful 4, 5, 6 years into my career. And you can kind of carry that forward. And so I have a lot of heartburn about what does this mean to our talent pipeline? And again, that's like an interesting, intellectually stimulating question to ask. And I think a lot of industries need to be asking those questions right now.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's kind of an open-ended one that I spent a lot of time thinking about.
Yeah. It's such a good question. You're probably the third guest that I've had just in the last month that has brought up that, right? That like, yes, AI can take care of all this entry level stuff, but then like that's the foundation to what made the great leaders the leaders they are today is because they had to manually create these processes and spreadsheets
Yep.
and like understand like
Yeah.
the math of like how it actually works,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, when you take that away, like, how do you develop the
I mean,
next
I
groups?
have I have distinct memories of my first 3 to 5 years. Still do this sometimes, but especially early on, traveling to some city across the country to go meet with clients, being in all day meetings and discovery sessions, asking them questions about their processes and their technology, furiously scribbling notes or typing notes, and then going to dinner and about 7 or 8 o'clock, spending 2 or 3 hours in my hotel room making sense of the notes because the notes happen in chronological stream of consciousness order. And so I would spend these nights in the hotel room extracting themes, grouping things, like thinking through how to make sense of everything that I heard. And now AI can do that.
Yeah, in
But
about 30 seconds.
exactly, which is great. And I use it as an accelerator all the time. But I am able to call BS on the output of the
Mm,
model if I don't think that it captured the key theme or if it synthesized the wrong way or whatever, because I had all those late nights in hotel rooms,
yeah.
kind of working through the kind of making sense of the day. So yeah, I think that's the point. Kind of you're highlighting that I think a lot of folks are feeling right now is it's huge accelerator, but we have to think about some of the um, kind of the downsides too and how we mitigate that.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally I feel that, and I'm glad that leaders like you are asking that question and really trying to solve it because it's going to be important, right, for the future of any organization. And like I said, I like how you called it like a talent pipeline challenge, right?
Yeah.
But it's true. It's going to be
Yeah.
that way for everybody. I love it.
Absolutely.
I love it. Okay, so and tell me a little bit about like what when you don't have to think, like what are you doing or thinking about? Like what are the hobbies of Michael? Like
Yeah.
I know you're into football.
I do love college football.
Yeah.
I've got my Longhorn mug here, so
Yeah.
I especially like using that when I have Aggie and Sooner clients on the phone.
You just, like,
Yes.
hold it a little bit
Totally.
longer.
I'm like, "Hey, just drinking my coffee." Yes, I'm a diehard Texas Longhorns football fan, so in the fall, that consumes me, and I often have to remind my wife that she's very lucky that I just wanna watch one 3.5-hour game a weekend. I don't care about the NFL, I don't watch other teams, it's like, I just wanna watch my one game, that's it, so it could be worse. Um, yeah, so love that. I love to cook, I love to play the piano. Mm, Mostly for me, I mean, I play some for others, but more it's like a very relaxing for me to sit down at the piano and play music. And then we have a almost 2-year-old son, he'll be 2 next month, and a rambunctious 5-year-old golden retriever. So I spend a lot of time chasing them around, and that is by far my greatest source of joy right now.
I love it. That sounds like so much fun. What do you like to cook? Are you like are you a smoker? Are you, like, give me a pan and a protein? Are you a
Good
baker? Like, what do
good
you like to do?
question. Not a baker, so I can bake, but as has probably come across in our conversations, like, too much structure is, like, suffocating to me, so I have to have enough
Yeah,
creativity in my work, so measuring
yeah.
cups don't really that doesn't work
Don't
for
tell
me.
me how much baking powder it needs. I'll
Yeah,
tell
I'm
you
like,
how
"If I
much
put a little
baking powder it
extra, what's
needs.
gonna happen? Like, is it gonna blow up? Like, who cares?" So, I like to cook a lot of different things. I would say my favorites are I do have a smoker, so I like smoking meats. That is a good test for my impatience sometimes too. So I have to entertain myself throughout the day doing other things while that's happening. I love making Italian foods like chicken parm, pasta, anything in that world. I don't know. Yeah. And I do like cooking a nice steak. So I've really gotten into sous vide recently. I don't know if you're
Yeah,
familiar.
yeah.
And like my family, like our extended family came at Christmas and they saw the steaks in the water and they were like, "Are you doing a science experiment over there? Like what is happening?" So, but they enjoyed how it turned out.
So
So,
you've got the reverse sear science
oh yeah,
down then.
down to an art, or
That's
down to a science,
awesome.
exactly. Yeah,
That's so fun. I love it. Hey, well, that's so funny. You're like, don't pin me down, but yet, like, sous vide is like pretty specific. I mean,
it is,
there's
it
gotta
is.
be
But
a very specific internal temperature.
this is very very true. Yeah,
So fun. I love it. I love it. I love to cook as well.
yeah.
I'm like
What are
a
your
I'm like a give me a set of veggies, a pan and a protein,
yeah, nice.
and I'll go to work. And
Yeah,
so I I think I really the two things I just get totally geeked out about are a variety of tacos. I love tacos
we had
so
tacos
much.
last night for dinner. Yeah,
Nice, nice. What was your what kind of tacos?
like old school ground beef homemade
That's hey,
tacos.
you
Yeah,
can't beat a classic.
I
You
know.
can't beat a classic.
Yeah.
So tacos and then like bowls, so like whether it's
Yeah,
like a Korean beef bulgogi bowl or like a chicken harvest. This week I have in the rotation it's a chicken harvest bowl, so it's got like quinoa, chicken, apples, some sweet
sounds good.
potatoes, a honey
Yeah.
mustard vinaigrette on it.
Okay, yeah. That sounds like there's like a sweet green bowl like that I'm thinking about that has like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
many of the flavors. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's pretty much a copycat for
Love
sure.
that. That's the way to
But
do it. When
yeah.
you find something good, you just make it yourself.
Yeah, and then it's better for you for sure.
Exactly. There you go.
I love it. All right. Well, this has seriously been so much fun, Michael. It's seriously been such a pleasure having you on the podcast, and I can tell that you really care about the people that you work with, and you're very passionate about the work that you do, and making sure that people get the right solutions, which I think is just amazing. And so it's really been a pleasure having you be able to kind of open the kimono of the business and give us a read on what's going on. And I'm excited for all of those goals that you have in 2026. I think it's going to be an exciting one for you.
Well, thank you for taking the time. I'm really glad we've gotten to connect and I so enjoyed our conversation.
Me too. Okay, so for people that want to get in touch with FlexPoint, follow you, how do they do that?
yeah, you can find us at flexpointconsulting.com. Find us on the old LinkedIn. I also accept inquiries via phone, text, carrier pigeon, like whatever you might have in mind. So we're easy to find and love talking to new people.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, guys, I'm going to put the links to everything that Michael's involved with in the episode notes so that you can get in touch with him, ask questions, inquire for your own transformations that you're looking for. But again, thank you so much, Michael. This has been like a really, really fun conversation. It's been so great having you.
Likewise, thank you.
Guys, wherever you are listening, we know that your time is valuable. So for you to spend a few moments with us means the absolute world. So until next time on the Marketing Matrix.